عبد المجيد إن شاء الله. chapter 9 صح؟
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Blighted fruit ruling. Blight refers to any plant disease affecting fruits resulting in their destruction. In this regard, fruits may be sold when they are almost ripe, and it is permissible to sell them, and after that they may be hit by blight. Divine blight refer to matters that are beyond the powers of human intervention, such as wind, heat, drought, rain, coldness, locusts, etc.
طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. This is called الجائحة. الجائحة وجمعها جوائح. جمعها جوائح. والجوائح or الجائحة, as the Sheikh mentioned here and he explained already, any calamity or anything that dive in, it's not by or in the hand of the human, something beyond our ability or choice, like flood for example. You cannot control flood, you don't expect strike, maybe lightning will strike the tree, okay, a strong wind, all these called jawa'ih, which is beyond the control of man. Here, what's the relation between this chapter and the chapter before? We were talking about what? Selling fruits, okay, or any plant production before it's become ripe, and we say this is not lawful. Now you already, it's ripe and it is permissible to sell it, and you sign contract that you want to take this inshallah. Now the contract is right, you will take it maybe next week, after 2 weeks. Meanwhile, in this period, before you receive and you take what you pay for, something happened, like as we said, wind, strong wind, okay, or fire that is not licensed, for example, that hit and the buyer said, okay, I have no problem, we already bought it, so why should you come back to me? This is something that's not in my hand. Okay, the buyer said, I didn't get to get it, so how come you take my money for nothing? This is the rule here. How can we deal in this situation? In very short, in this situation, the buyer can go back to the seller and ask for his money back. Why? Because he didn't receive it yet. Okay, he didn't receive it yet. Is it clear? So this is the point. Fine. If something, it's not jaiha, it's not very something like very strong that took everything, something was lost because of other factors like birds eating from the tree, okay, some fell down, then what's the rule here? The rule, he has no right to get back his money. So this is the difference here. Ulama, they say if it was the loss less than the third, then the buyer has no right to return and get his money. Then he should take it as it is, because this is something, it's not very strong, it was not affected by the even calamity like wind or flood or whatever. Right. Some ulama say no, it's not 1/3, but this depends on the urf on the urf. What's the meaning of urf? The custom of the community. The custom of the community. What's considered too much and what's considered acceptable. Okay? So this is the point. Because you remember we said there is strong, there is weight for the custom in the Islamic Sharia. Okay? Now if there is nothing, there is no clear evidence or cut evidence, very clear, about certain matter in the Quran or the Sunnah or Ijma', what we do? We look to the urf, the custom of the community, whether they consider it acceptable or not. But if there is dalil from the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the ijma' of the ulama, and some they add al-qiyas as fourth source for evidences in the Sharia, then it is we cannot accept. Like for example, I'll give one example which is common, I think, and some of you familiar with. In the Sharia, that the man is the one who gives the dowry for the wife, right or not? Very clear in the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah. In some Muslim community now, because they were mixed with the non-Muslims and they took their customs, it is the opposite. You will find the father who has girls in trouble because he have to pay for his dowry for the husband. It's the opposite. And this is opposed the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. Right? Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, وَآتُوا النِّسَاء. He didn't say وَآتُوا الرِّجَالِ. وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة فينطلن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوا هنيئا مريئا. If they give you something of this, it's okay, but first of all you should give them their dowry, their right. Okay? But in some Muslim community it's the opposite, and here the Muslim has no excuse to come under the custom and forget the Sharia. We know it is hard, it's not easy. We know it is, it's a lot of struggle. Maybe some people say, well, okay, if I did like this, no one will marry my girl, my daughter. This is the thinking. But ask yourself, you are dealing with whom? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you leave something for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah replaces for you better than what you left. Believe me, brother. Don't ever be affected by any factor, because all the matter is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should not violate the Sharia to please people. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man ibtagha ridha Allah, ma'na al-hadith, the meaning of the hadith. Whoever seeks the pleasure of the people and the disobedience or displeasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will not be pleased with them and will cause people to be displeased with. And whoever please Allah in a matter that displease people, Allah will be pleased with them and will make people be pleased with them. Because the heart is in the hands of whom? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a matter, brothers, of faith, a matter of belief, a matter how much you have in your heart reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal. If you truly believe in Allah, rely on Allah Azza wa Jal, truly from your heart, then the whole world has no weight in your eyes. But if we want to count people, well, this, that, believe me, as it says, رضا الناس راية لا تدرك. رضا الناس غاية لا تدرك. Pleasing people, something that's impossible. You never reach. But if you please Allah, Allah will make everybody pleased. So here just one point related to al-urf. نعم. Yes.
If the buyer then could not collect the fruit before being afflicted, the buyer is allowed to take whatever amount of money he had paid for those blighted fruits.
نعم.
This is due to the hadith narrated by Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhuma and related by Imam Muslim, stating that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has commanded to return the payment of those fruits struck by blight.
نعم. This is based on the hadith and based on the ayah also, as we mentioned, because this related to the previous subject. ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل. طيب. And based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that if you can't take your money, the money of your brother without anything, without legal reason. So it is the same basic. Here the hadith that the ulama base their opinion about this matter.
The aforementioned hadith signifies that the blighted fruits belong to the seller and the buyer is to take whatever price he has paid for them. Thus, if all the sold fruits are blighted, the buyer is to be repaid whatever payment he has given. But if some of those fruits are blighted, he is to ask only for what is equal to the value of the blighted fruit.
This is a business situation. Okay. Now, you bought, for example, in a farm, the fruits in certain trees, and you will take it. You will say, just I leave it for some time, and then lightning come and burn part of it. Then you should get the price that you paid for what? The affected part. But the other one is not. You can take it because there is no harm in this. Now,
this is based on the general meaning of the above mentioned hadith. It also applies whether the sale has been concluded before the ripeness of the fruits or afterwards, according to general meaning of this hadith and according to the hadith in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, how could you take the money of your Muslim brother without a right? However, if the blighted quality of the sold fruit is little and could not exactly be defined, the buyer and not the seller is to bear its responsibility, since this is the common among products. Moreover, this damaged quality is not considered blight and cannot be avoided. For example, it may happen when birds eat from fruits or what may drop on the ground and the like. In this respect, scholars maintain that this quantity is not to be regarded as a blighted produce as long as the damage does not reach the third of the whole quantity.
Yeah, this is one opinion. Okay. Now, why? Because this is something happen. When you buy something of this fruit, and this is still in the trees, for sure some birds will come, okay, and take from this. Some maybe will fall down and people take it, or animal eat it. This is something natural. It's not jaiha. And here they mention what? This opinion that 1/3 is the quantity. If it's more than this, then it should be different. Now,
yet the most preponderant opinion is that the amount is not to be determined in this manner, but it is to be decided according to the common convention among people in this regard. This is because deciding a certain quantity necessitates the presence of a proof. Scholars,
here the point here, the Sheikh here said, what those scholars who say it is 1/3, they have no proof. There is no evidence. What's their evidence that you said 1/3? Okay? So this is the point here, the Sheikh. This is why he said, the sound opinion is what? The sound opinion is that it will be left to the people to decide. The urf. Right? Now, if you say something in the Sharia, then you have to prove, you have to bring what? Daleel. Either from the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And since there is no daleel here, then it will be left to the people and their urf and their custom. Now,
Scholars maintain that the seller should bear the responsibility of the blighted fruits, because when the seller sells the fruits on the trees by leaving them to the buyer, fruits are not actually handed over.
yeah, this is the point here. The point, he didn't hand this one side. He didn't hand it. And you remember when we talk about buying and seller, there should be what? Al-qabd. That means you take and you give. You give the money and you take the product. So here another point that he said, because it was not received by the buyer, it's still in the custody of whom? Of the seller. So he is the one who is responsible about this. Now,
In other words, it is as if he has not given him those fruits from the start. This applies to the fruits struck with a divine blight. However, if the fruits are damaged by way of human cause, such as a fire started willfully, the buyer is to be given the choice between two things. The first is abrogating the sale and asking the seller to repay what he has paid. The seller should then ask the person who caused damage to bear the responsibility for what he has damaged.
right, this is another situation. Somebody came and he took this fruit. Who should, be responsible here to take back? Now he said here that the buyer, he had the choice. Either say, okay, I can take the money from this person, or he said to the seller, give me my money because you didn't hand to me what I bought. And then the seller has the right to go and take this, the third person who took this fruit, he take him to the court or to the authority to get back whatever he took from this fruit or product. Now,
The second option is concluding the sale and asking the one who has caused the damage to give compensation.
now,
The Prophet ﷺ stipulated that fruits are not to be sold until they are almost ripe.
now. This we discussed it last week. Now,
Actually, the times through which trees other than palm are known to have reached ripeness differ according to each kind of tree. As for grapes, the sign of ripeness is when their taste becomes sweet. This is due to the hadith narrated by Anas that the Prophet ﷺ forbade the sale of grapes until they became black, ripened.
now, black because it was green, then it will come black. Why it become black? Because it's the water. And the meaning of black here is not necessary to be the black color. Because the Arab, they call the water black. Okay? They call it black. As mentioned in the hadith, you remember? The hadith when I think it's Aisha radiallahu anha, she said that it is, past, one hilalun wa hilalayn wa thalatha, 3 months past, and there is no fire, it's used in the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's mean in cooking, referring to cooking. So people surprised. They said, oh, how come? People, they should cook. Okay? So how come? What do you eat? This was the question. What do you eat? They said, Al-Aswadan. Al-Aswadan. The two black. The date and the water.
Date and water.
Yes.
What also is for the black and the date also is for.
Yes. See? Al-Aswadan. Right? So here, it's black, it doesn't mean really, it just become black, because some of the grape, it will not become black. Right or not? But that means when there's a lot of water, and when a lot of water, that means become ripe and sweet. Because when it's green, if you touch it, you find it hard. Right? Now,
as for the signs indicating the ripeness of other fruits such as apples, watermelon, pomegranate, apricots, plum, walnuts and the like, It is the appearance of their ripeness and being fit for eating.
نعم.
This is based on the hadith related by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, in which the Prophet ﷺ forbade selling fruits until they get ripe. This hadith is narrated in another wording as when it is fit for eating.
That is explanation for the hadith. He said in other narration, when it's fit, when it's meant to become useful. I mean, people can use it, can eat it, can consume it. يعني ممكن يأكلوه يا شيخ محمد قبل ما يكون مناسب للأكل. يعني ما تقدر تبيعه. You cannot sell it. طيب. نعم. So this is
for cucumber and the like, the sign of their ripeness is when they become fit for eating. However, grains are known to be ripe when they are fully grown and white, since the Prophet ﷺ deems it permissible to sell grains only when they are fully grown and hard.
And getting hard. So it's different now. Grain is getting hard, that means like rice. Okay? When it become hard, that means it is eatable. That means khalas, it's right. While the opposite in the grape, fruit. You know, when it's before it's become ripe, it's hard, and then it's become soft. Subhanallah. Can we take part of this or we? Right. No.
The salam, sale of
سلم. هذا بيع. It's called بيع السلم. بيع السلم. نعم. بيع السلم.
Sale of payment in advance.
نعم.
The salam is payment in advance with delaying the receipt of the sold item. The Muslim Faqih rahimahumullah defined the salam as a contract according to which the price of a clearly defined item is paid in advance at the place of concluding the contract, and the sold item is to be received later.
نعم.
This kind of transaction is permissible according to the Quran, the Sunnah, and the consensus of Muslim scholars. What proves that is what Allah Azza wa Jal says, what means, O you who have believed, when you contract a debt for a specified term, write it down. Al-Baqarah 2.
أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه إلى أجله وليكتب بينهم كاتب بالعدل till the end of the ayah. And this is, as you know, the longest ayah in the Quran. ثم آية المداينة, the longest ayah in the Quran. Take full page of the Quran, one ayah. Start from يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين and id واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله. طيب, and explain in detail what the Muslim should do when they take money from each other as debt, or when you borrow money. That should be written, and it's very important, brothers. I mentioned this before. When you take money or you give money for somebody that return it to you, you should write it down, and you should have two witnesses. It's very important. Some people, now people, unfortunately, as we said before, if you ask him to write paper, say, "Ya Sheikh, we are friends, we are brothers, you don't trust me." No, I trust you, but I don't trust Shaitan. Right? I trust you, but I don't trust Shaitan. Shaitan will play a game with you. Okay? And subhanallah, whoever leaves, look, they say, whoever leave anything of the Sharia, Allah Azza wa Jal will make him need it. I mean, he think, I said, oh, I wish I did it. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَلَا تَسْأَمُوا أَن تَكْتُبُوهُ صَغِيرًا أَوْ كَبِيرًا إِلَى أَجَلٍ. Don't get bored to write it down. Even it was small amount. Till the assigned time. Write it down. Right? I took from Arshad 500 riyals. I should give him receipt that this is in many cases. Maybe this guy who took this money died. Right? So then he can go to his people who inherited him, heirs, and they ask him, well, your father took from me 500 riyal. Very important to protect the right of everyone. Unfortunately, as we said, people now, they depend on words. That's good. We trust each other. But when I oblige myself to do what Allah Azza wa Jal taught me or command me in the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that means I am obeying what? Obeying whom? Allah. And as a Muslim, I should obey Him. I should not put my mind and my thoughts and the feeling of others ahead of what Allah Azza wa Jal and His Messenger say. Naam? Naam? Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah, the page just before the last page.
Page number 48.
Naam? 48. Naam. Last page, after it, one page, and then the end of the Surah Al-Baqarah. Right? After it, I think about 3 ayah of the Surah Al-Baqarah. Because the first ayah, the beginning, it will be وَإِن كُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا. If you are traveling, what should you do? And you have debt. And then, the 2 ayah that we used to recite at the end, at the time of sleep. لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وأن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم إلى آخر الآية. نعم.
Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma said, I testify that Allah has made lawful to us to pay in advance for the price of a thing to be delivered later after a specified term. He then recited the above mentioned words.
Now, so this is why the Shaykh he brought this ayah. This is the point here. Because maybe some people, they will say to you, okay, well, this ayah talk about what? About debts. Talk about debts. Mudayana. And here you are talking about you bought something and you pay the money and you are talking about production, about product. So, where's the dalil here? Where's the point? So the Shaykh here reports the understanding of whom?
Ibn Abbas.
Ibn Abbas. And who is Ibn Abbas? Ibn Abbas, Turjuman al-Quran. Turjuman al-Quran. وحبر الأمة. He is the scholar of the Ummah and he is most specialist in the Quran. Anything related to the Quran, the meaning of the Quran, the Sahaba refer to whom? Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he understood from this verse something that other people they didn't. Got it. So he said, he swear here, he testify that Allah has made love based on this ayah. Now,
when the Prophet ﷺ arrived at Medina and found his people paying in advance the price of fruits to be delivered later after a year, 2 or 3, he said, whoever pays in advance the price of a thing or of fruits, according to another narration, to be delivered later, should pay it for a specified measure at specified weight for a specified period. Al-Bukhari and Muslim.
now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came from where? From Mecca. And Mecca, as we said, it's commercial center. That means it's business. People are working business. They don't have agriculture. The people in Medina, farmers, and they have farms, they have different style of life, and dealing also, when dealing business, it's not like dealing with farm and agriculture. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he came, he found the people use this method. How? People, they pay in advance the price. For example, Sheikh Muhammad, he has a farm, and he has about 10 palm trees. And he paid the money and he said, Muhammad, when this tree or this 10 trees, whatever product, whatever come from out from this 10 trees, I will take it, and this is the price in advance, before even this date comes, without limit. That means there was no rules, and maybe people are compete among themselves, okay, because they compete, maybe they take for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because everyone wants to get something. So the Prophet ﷺ here, what he did when he came, he put certain rules. When you say the Prophet put, that means Allah Azza wa Jal, revealed to him, because the Prophet ﷺ doesn't do anything by his own opinion, especially when it's a matter of Sharia. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever want to do this, then he should specify it. Specify what? The time, the period, and the measure, and what? What's the third one?
The weight.
The weight, or the measure. He should specify it from the beginning. And this, brother, is very important, alhamdulillah, to make everything clear. Clear for the buyer and clear for the seller. Because if you buy these trees, maybe this year, mashallah, it will give, where there's a lot of more water, and subhanallah, another year doesn't maybe give the same thing or the same amount. So here, the Prophet ﷺ make it very, very clear and specified time. Will you read this hadith again? Yes, Shaykh.
Whoever pays in advance the price of a thing of fruits, according to another narration, to be delivered later, should pay it for a specified measure at specified weight for a specified period.
Nah.
This hadith proves that the salam is permissible when these conditions are fulfilled. Besides, Ibn al-Mundir and other scholars report that scholars uniformly agree that the salam is permissible. Moreover, people need the salam, since one of the parties of the transaction may be in need for being paid the price of an item in advance, while the other may be in need for buying an item for a cheap price.
Nah.
In addition to the conditions of selling, there are some conditions necessary for validating the salam.
Yeah, now here we are talking about more, detail about these conditions. Now,
First, the sold item whose price is to be paid in advance must have definite properties. This is because the item whose properties cannot be defined undergo many changes, which causes disputes between the two parties of the sale at the time of receiving the sold item. Therefore, the salam is not valid in items whose properties may change, such as pulses, leather, utensils, and jewels.
So anything, it should be very specified. When we are talking about, take this for example, dates, we know what kind of dates. Talking about dates, not about grapes. Okay? Should be specified, should be known for both parties. And this come under the general what? Conditions. You remember that we talked in what? In sales. Remember when we talk about the conditions for transaction, and we mentioned 7, that the one when we buy something, he should specify what is the thing that you are buying. But this is to stay away from al-gharar also.
Second, the kind and the class of sold item must be defined. For example, if the sold item is wheat, the kind must be defined, which is wheat here, and the class of that wheat must be defined, such as salamoni, a type of wheat.
Now they will say to you, wheat, there is different wheat. Wheat from sha'ir, wheat from grains, wheat, different. So which wheat you mean? Even that means don't just talk about the general category, but you talk about what? Specific sub-category.
Third, the sold item must be a specified quantity, weight or measure. This is according to the meaning of the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ says, Whoever pays in advance the price of a thing to be delivered later should pay it for a specified measure or a specified weight and for a specified period. Besides, if the quantity of the sold item is unspecified, it becomes difficult to be exact.
Now it's very clear that when you buy certain thing and you pay money, you talk about how much in weight or measures. And the measures are different. Why I say weight or measure? Because you see these fruits or grains, it's different. Some we weight, right? And some we measure. So it depends on what type you are talking about and what type you are planning to get.
Fourth, there must be a specified period for receiving the sold item. This is because the Prophet ﷺ says in the above mentioned hadith for a specified period. Besides, Allah Azza wa Jal says what means, O you who have believed, when you contract a debt for a specified period, specified term, write it down. With regard to this issue, both the hadith and the noble verse state that in the salam, both parties agreed to the condition stating that the sold item is to be delivered later according to a specified period known to both of them.
Yeah, it should be in this way you save the right of both sides. Maybe because if you agree without stating certain time, maybe this seller, he will sell this production to somebody else and he said, okay, we didn't agree, well, I'll get it, inshallah, next time, the next one will be yours. You get the point? So you look to the wisdom here, the Sharia. For example, I said with Muhammad, this palm tree of this coming year, not the year after. Okay? Not the year after, should be specified. Okay? Now.
Fifth, the item sold must be present when the time of reception is due, in order to be delivered at the stipulated time. Thereby, if that item is not available when its time of delivery is due, the salam does not become valid, such as paying the price of ripe dates and grapes in advance and stipulating that the sold item be delivered in winter. Such crops are not available at such time.
Yeah, this is very clear here. You know, that means you deliver it when it is ready. When it is ready. Especially people, they know this time. No one will go, for example, to any farms. I'm talking about dates because I'm familiar with, as example. Because in our village, we have palm trees. Okay? So we are familiar with dates. Dates, for example, always it's come when? Summertime. So somebody said, I'll deliver it to you in winter. That means what he did with it. He harvested in summer, where did he take it? So it should be in the time that, become available. Now.
Sixth, the price of the sold item must be paid fully in advance at the time of concluding the contract. This is according to the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever pays in advance the price of a thing to be delivered later should pay it for a specified measure. In this connection, Imam Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah said, the transaction of the salam is not valid except when the price is paid in advance and before the two parties, the seller and the buyer, leave the place where they have concluded the transaction.
نعم هذا خيار خيار what?
المكان
خيار المجلس. نعم this is one of the conditions, you remember? Okay? نعم.
Besides, if the price of the sold item is not paid at the time of concluding the contract, it will be regarded as selling a debt for a debt, which is impermissible.
نعم.
Seventh, the sold item is not to be specific. The sold item is not to be specific. Example, a certain house or a specified tree. Rather, it should be regarded as a debt in the seller's liability. Thereby, the salam is not valid when specifying a certain house or a certain tree to be given, because this tree or house may get damaged before being delivered to the buyer. In this way, the desired purpose for which the salam has been decreed will not be fulfilled.
No.
Besides, the delivery of the sold item is to be in the same place where the contract of the salam has been concluded. if possible. If this place is not fit for delivery, example, they concluded the contract at a certain spot on land or at sea, then the place of delivery must be mentioned in the contract. Moreover, if the two parties agree on the place of delivery, the salam becomes permissible. Otherwise, they must resort to the place where the contract has been concluded, for it was fit for concluding the transaction from the start, as mentioned before.
This is the point here. Okay, I bought this product. I have contract with Sheikh Abdul Majid. We signed a contract where? In Jeddah. Right? Sheikh Abdul Majid said, no, I reside in Riyadh or in Sri Lanka. And you write in the contract that you deliver it to me to this place. It should be written. If it was written, if it was not written, we forget to write it. Then that means at the place where we signed this contract. He says, no, how come I come to Jeddah? I'm in Sri Lanka. I said, okay, mashallah. But we didn't agree when we signed the contract that I deliver it to you in Sri Lanka. But if he specified, then he should get it there. Yes, because we will include this. He said, the Shaykh, if they are in a place where is in the sea, or we sign contract in the aircraft, where should I deliver it? Okay, so this is the point here. That he said that we should specify the place of delivery to get out of this misunderstanding. Now,
one of the rulings on the salam is that it is impermissible to sell the item sold according to the salam to someone else before it is received. This is because the Prophet ﷺ forbade selling foodstuff before receiving them. In this case, the hawala is invalid, since the hawala is only valid regarding a stable debt, while the salam can be annulled.
Now with this hawala, this is another type of sale. Inshallah, it will come. There's one, I think, chapter about al-hawala to talk about it. Now,
another ruling on the salam is that if the sold item is not present or available at the due time, such as in cases when the trees have not borne fruits at the year of delivery, the one who has paid for the item in advance may choose whether to wait until the fruits are available, or he may ask for annulling the contract and ask for the money he has paid.
Yes, now I paid you money to get the date for this year. It happens sometimes, subhanallah. This year, for one reason or another, maybe they didn't, remember we talk about luqah. Or ta'bir, they call it, ta'bir. People, they didn't made this process between the, they took certain thing from the male tree to the female tree. They didn't do it this way. This process did not take its place. That means there will be no production, no dates. Therefore they did it. And when you come at the time and you ask, where's my fruit that I paid for? He said, wallah, I'm sorry, but this year we couldn't get any production. Now you have the right. Either you take your money, or said, okay, keep it, and I will take it for the next year. Now,
this is because in case the contract is annulled, it's obligatory for the seller to repay the price paid in advance. If the payment given by the buyer against the sold item is damaged, the compensation for it must be paid. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. In fact, allowing such a kind of transaction is a sign of the facilitation and benevolence by which our Sharia is characterized. This is because the salam facilitates many things for people and helps them to do what benefits them. Besides, the salam does not involve riba or the like of other forbidden transactions. All praise is due to Allah for the facilitation He grants.
subhanallah. Right, inshallah, after we meet, when we meet after 2 weeks, we talk about loaning the loan
And loans.
inshallah.
Regarding the page 2, shall we notify them because for the Arabic Majma' al-Fan,
ايوه
after Risala, غير المكان.
خلاص سيارة ها